quickly remaking the intro to this video. I originally made this as a speed paint that I was going to voice over, and then I decided I was going to draw all the events and voice over it and like show the drawings as I went. But I've been doing it for hours. I've been drawing. I will post the drawings in the spam art channel in my Discord, but for the actual video I've decided I've got to re-record this intro because there is no way in hell that I'm going to draw all of the stuff that I've talked about in this video for like 20 minutes. So it is just going to be the speed paint of Shark from AmiSide's new reference sheet, and this video is basically just going to go over her backstory, how the rogues formed, how she met Hound, all of the events regarding the rogues leading up to the beginning of AmiSide. It's been a long time coming, making a video about the rogues, so I hope this one is up to standard for anyone who likes AmiSide or likes Shark, but I won't spend any more time making this video and I'm just going to get into it, so yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. I'll start off first with Shark's backstory and how her group originally came to be. Shark was born to another name as a rogue kitten, not quite a barn cat, but she lived near the farm on Thistle Colony territory. Her mother, Bristle, and her siblings Snap, Kiwi, and Wheat lived with her, but their father, Admiral, wasn't interested in having a family, and he left. So starting off young, Shark really hates men. She hates men for her entire life, as anyone who follows AmiSide will know. But this is probably where it started off. Living near the farm, the cats of her family often got into trouble with the dogs, the tractors, and all that kind of thing. The most infamous encounter with one of these threats during Shark's kithood was when one day, they were about trainee age, the siblings were playing when they heard their mother shriek for them to run, and in the panic of everything they realised that Kiwi, the smallest of Shark's siblings, had been left behind, and was out in the field when the kits finally realised that their mother was warning them from a tractor, which took the first of Shark's close family from her. Now it was just Bristle, Snap, Wheat, and Shark. Shark was devastated by her siblings' death, as was the rest of her family, and her mother soon became a depressed recluse. Shark adored her mother and would bring her prey, feathers, moss, or anything she could find to try and cheer her up, but Bristle was getting sick with her grief, refusing to leave her nest, and often refused these gifts, or just stared at Shark with a hollow expression. Tractors really held it out for this family, and one day a machine leaked oil into the waterway that trickled down the side of the field and also left a lot of oily puddles laying around. Shark was a far cry from the playful kit that she had been all those moons prior, her spirit dampened by her mother's dismissal of her, and she would only watch when her siblings would play in the puddles or swim in the waterway, though she had already become a very strong swimmer herself alongside them at an early age, which helped her out later in life when she was living in Creek Colony. Of course, playing in the oil water got Snap and Wheat very sick, and as Shark was the only cat in the family who was now able to, or even willing, to do things, she now had the responsibilities of hunting and caring for her sick family all on her own shoulders. Her mother had once shown her a few strange plants which seemed to cheer cats up and make them well again, and so, not wanting to leave her family during the day in case they needed something, Shark would care for her family when the sun was in the sky, and when they slept she would work every night without a wink of sleep to bring back herbs for them, in hopes that the sickness would go away. Her siblings eventually seemed to be doing better, and while they were still incredibly sick, Shark hoped that the herbs would manage to help them out and heal them. But obviously the sickness spread. Soon enough, the sickness had developed into something far worse, and Shark realised that it was contagious when her mother Bristle caught the sickness. Shark managed to stay clear herself, but alongside how weak she had become from her grief, and now she was facing the effects of the illness, Bristle was the first to be taken by the sickness. With no adult to help them, and her siblings still sick, Shark continued to hunt, herb gather, treat, and protect her siblings as she got into combatant age. Her siblings had stayed the exact same size since they became sick, as if the sickness was determined to keep them vulnerable kits, and they were both incredibly weak, too weak to fight the sickness any longer. Soon came the day that Shark returned to their home after a long night, holding herbs that she prayed would finally heal Wheat and Shark for good. She had spent all night searching far and wide for them, and a travelling rogue healer had even told her that they would be sure to end the sickness. However, on her return, Shark found the farmer's dog sniffing around their home, and after driving the beast away, Shark found her siblings dead, taken by the sickness. She was too late. Terrified and heartbroken, unable to shake the idea that if she had just gotten home faster, found the herbs sooner, her family would still be alive, Shark felt that she had no choice but to flee the home that had taken everyone from her. She ran from the farm, crossing through fields until she found what she now knows to be a church. It looked warm and safe, and Shark yearned to run inside and curl up to sleep, but she heard the racket of hindwalkers, which is the colony's name for two legs, and knew that it was out of bounds. She curled up into a nearby hedge, feeling all of the effects of her night out searching for herbs and her day spent running, and finally succumbed to sleep. Luckily for Shark, a patrol found her and took her back to the waterlogged territory of Creek Colony. When she awoke in the healer's den, the cat there explained to her that they had found Shark with a strange pink flower beside her ear and asked which colony she had been a healer for. Confused, Shark pressed the cat for more answers, and they explained that healers got healers' herbs from the Green Eternal. Shark didn't really know what that meant, but the cats had assumed that she was a healer from another colony that had found herself far away from home. Shark was furious. Had this Green Eternal randomly decided to give her some stupid herb after abandoning her and her family for all these years? The last thing she wanted was Creek Colony's pity, but Shark saw the opportunity to fool this new group and took it. She said that she was a rogue healer, like the one she had met on her quest for herbs, who healed cats far and wide. The cats asked for her name, and not wanting to give away her identity to anyone who may have encountered her family, Shark lied and said that her job didn't come with a need for names, and so Creek Colony named her Shark, which was a fitting name among their ranks. Creek Colony took her in, and Shark convinced their healer to teach her the ways that the colonies healed, saying that it was just in case her methods were against their beliefs, or something like that. But really, it was so that she could get the training she needed to fool the colony into believing that she truly was a healer. Eventually, the original healer died, and Shark took over. She got a trainee, Beach, and trained him in the basics, though she didn't have much interest in actually teaching him. This colony was so close to her farm, and that they had never once bothered to follow her cries for all those moons, and the last thing that Shark wanted to do was teach these cats how to survive and heal themselves, when all she wanted was to destroy them. During this time, Creek Colony faced many invasions from their neighbours, Thistle Colony, and the huge brown tabby who always fought the fiercest in these battles caught Shark's eye on more than one occasion, though she knew nothing about the other cats that lived around the territory. She seemed like the perfect cat, however, a strong fighter and a stern leader, barking orders at her cats effortlessly while she fought with huge teeth and claws. Though these battles left Shark with plenty of cats to nurse in the healer's den, they also left her with plenty of time to let her mind swim with thoughts of the cat that she had seen. After working her way up to being a trusted healer, Shark then went on and began slowly killing off the cats of Creek Colony. First, a few combatants, and then the subordinate. However, during this murder, her trainee Beach found out what she was doing and got her exiled, the commander Coy giving her the neck scars and the ear nick that she has today, and banishing her to wander the territory. Now, she was a rogue again. Shark wandered, wounded and cold as she tried to hunt. She passed the large church that she had seen when she first fled her home, and found that it was almost entirely burned down, at least to a point where no hindwalkers would bother using it. Shark concluded that it must have been a lightning strike that took down the building, but whatever it was, she wasn't pleased at the Green Eternal teasing her with this last-minute help again like they did with the flower. Weighing up her options, however, she knew that she desperately needed shelter, and took her home in the church. She found a few of the cats that she hadn't noticed the first time that she passed by. They were skinny and cold, some wounded by the great fire caused by the lightning. At first, Shark wanted nothing to do with the other cats, but after finding out how the colonies had treated them, just because they didn't live within the colonies themselves, Shark began to care for them with her knowledge of herbs, and how advanced her hunting skills had gotten from all the time caring for her siblings at the farm. As of AmiSide, Shark takes in rogues, often ones like her who are young cats wandering without a family or with sick relatives, which she also takes in, and she cares for them as though they were her own kids. Of course, she still hates the colonies, and is angrier than ever now that she has found out that the group who would attack Creek Colony while she lived there lived even closer to her old farm than Creek Colony did. Shark was furious upon finding this out, which she did through following a few Thistle Colony cats back to just outside their camp whenever she would catch their scent, and finding out that they were right next to her farm and could have heard her screams for all of those years that she was crying out for help. Eventually, she found the familiar scent of the great brown tabby that she used to see attacking Creek Colony, and found that she was out alone hunting. Shark immediately launched herself at the huge cat, rolling her to the ground, and while at first she was shocked, the tabby shook herself off, still pinned to the ground, and began to laugh at the stupidity of the smaller cat, thinking she could take down this massive other cat. Shark was furious, but after the other cat had calmed down and urged Shark to let her stand, she found that this cat, Hound, recognised her from the battles that she had fought in Shark's old camp. While she didn't like rogues, and Shark didn't like the colonies, the two found themselves in a surprisingly civilised conversation. Shark learned that the commander at the time of her family's death was long dead, dying in the winter, and Hound, who was the current commander of Thistle Colony, had no idea that her family was ignored by her colony, and even offered Shark her apologies. Shark was taken aback, but was ultimately charmed by this cat. Throughout this conversation, she'd felt a growing giddiness that had first formed for Hound whenever she would see the huge cat in battle, and Shark grinned to herself as the conversation went on. The two eventually said their goodbyes, and Shark returned to her rogues with a new plan to destroy Creek Colony, knowing now that another cat with a lot of power wants them gone, and an even fiercer obsession with the huge strong Tabby than she realised she ever had all those moons ago. Like I said, this script is literally massive, but that is her backstory out of the way. Next up is an overview of the rogue group itself, and then a more in-depth look at the events that they lived in as a group rather than just Shark as an individual. Due to her hatred towards the colonies and the way of life, Shark hasn't established any concrete rules in her group for the most part. She is the crown of the group, which is their term for a leader or a commander, and she is also the cat who takes on the majority of the healing duties just because it's what she's done her whole life and she's the best at it. Other than this, Dino is an unofficial second in command, but every other cat handles whichever duties they feel best suited towards. Dino is widely accepted among the rogues as Shark's son, though they aren't blood related and Shark wouldn't consider him in that way, seeing as she thinks that all of the rogues are basically her children. Dino, on the other hand, loves this idea and uses it to his full advantage, making other cats do his tasks for him and holding how close he is to Shark over cats' heads to get them to do what he wants. Shark cares more about looking after her cats and plotting against the colonies to bother sending specific cats to patrol, and instead a meeting is held every morning to declare the tasks of the day, and when the cats share tongues and eat their final meal in the evening, the status of these tasks is relayed to Shark. The group know very well the consequences of failing to complete the daily tasks, and while Shark doesn't publicly execute cats like other characters in AmiSide have in the past, or may still do, some cats have gone missing, and on top of the threat, nobody wants to risk being cast out to wander the forest alone, especially after the recent winter. Speaking of the winter, AmiSide is set just after the worst cold season ever recorded hit the colonies, which for context began as a normal winter around the time that Shark joined Creek Colony, and continued through when Sedge was ordering his cats to attack Creek Colony, when Shark was exiled, when she began living in the church, and it ended a little while after that. The weather dramatically affected Shark's group, who only had the shelter of the church to help them face the temperatures, and had much less prey, as they couldn't hunt on colony territory without risking losses. Most of the group is made up of weak and sick cats or kits, who can't hunt and need extra food to fight off their sickness and or grow into strong cats. Because of how hard it was to hunt with all the snow, and most of the prey in hibernation, Shark's group had to develop a new system. Cats who either didn't contribute enough but were capable of doing so, or cats who betrayed the group by eating prey that they had caught before bringing it back to the sick, were labelled as tributes. These cats were tributes to the rogue group, and were cannibalised to keep the cats alive when they couldn't eat normal prey because there was none available. This put a huge strain on the cats in the group, and they fully began to see Shark for the cat that she is. The dynamic since then has shifted, and cats are much more afraid of Shark. This has worked to her advantage, as her quest to destroy Creek Colony becomes a greater priority to her now that the snow is melting. Shark has been sending more and more cats to scout the borders and carry out tasks for her. So far, she has found that Creek Colony are still without a healer, as her trainee Beach fled after Shark threatened him, and now is a better time than ever to invade and kill them all off. I think I'd say that is pretty much most of the main information that isn't going to be a spoiler for AmiSide, because obviously that's going to reveal quite a bit. But yeah, after all of this, the winter kind of slowed down. Shark and Hound kept meeting to kind of try and figure out how to take down Creek Colony and all that sort of thing. Cow saw the two meeting up, which is why at the beginning of AmiSide you'll find out that he's not certain as to what Hound is really up to, because he knows he's plotting something, because he told Snow about it. So Snow is also a little concerned as to what their commander is doing around a rogue. And none of them know anything to do with Shark being in Creek Colony, because the winter meant that they were very estranged from each other, Creek Colony and Thistle Colony, and especially because Hound was making so many attacks on Creek Colony after Sedge was making attacks, they didn't really have the chance to grow close. And Creek Colony, the last thing they would do would be telling their biggest enemy that their healer killed half of them off and then left, and they don't have a healer, because Shark's trainee saw her kill the subordinate and then was so scared after she was like, you tell anyone I'll kill you too, that he fled. So he is actually a house cat that you will meet in AmiSide, which is kind of fun. But yeah, they're not gonna be telling their biggest enemy that they have no healer, but obviously Shark has found this out just by sending her rogues off to kind of stalk Creek Colony and that kind of thing. I don't know if I developed it well in this script. I'm talking off script now, so I can just kind of add things in. But when Shark would see Hound during the battles, she was literally obsessed with her. Like, she wouldn't stalk her or anything, but when she would see her, she was literally obsessed with her, and she would think about her all the time. And then it kind of, she fell out of Shark's mind when all the stuff was going on and she was getting exiled. But then once she met up with her again, she was kind of like, oh, alright. And then they kind of got back together, and that is why they are mates in AmiSide. Shark likes Hound a lot more than Hound likes Shark, but they are both a couple, obviously, and Hound has told Shark some things about, like, how she's scared that Sedge is, like, haunting her and stuff like that, that she wouldn't tell any other cat. So they are close, but it's not the healthiest relationship. But also they are two women that murder people, so you can't really expect it to be that healthy. But yeah, if you have any other questions about AmiSide related things, let me know down below. I hope the format of this video was okay. But yeah, if you have any questions about AmiSide, let me know. If you want me to make any videos about other topics, let me know. Other characters. I know it's been long awaited for me to talk about the rogues, and I've only just finished doing this development kind of thing. But yeah, I will hopefully make a new AmiSide video soon. If not, there will be some speed paints out and that kind of thing. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.